those that love humidity, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love it in the evenings when the air's soft and the light's really cool. But 3 in the afternoon, yeah. I believe in a siesta. I can't take them, but I get why they
Yeah,
did them.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so
Oh,
I'm
wow.
I'm used to nice weather, and when it rains, it's actually cool.
Yeah. No, it's
Cool. It brings
lovely.
cool weather with it. But
Yeah.
In the cool of the evening when everything is getting kind of groovy. In the cool of the evening when everything is getting kind of groovy. I call you up and ask you if you like to go with me and see a movie. First you said no, you got some plans for tonight, and then you stop and say,
alrighty, people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome everybody to another episode of Casting for Two. As always, hosted by me, that guy. This is episode number 378. How is everybody doing today? Or all week. I'll say all week. 2020 sucks. There's there's no debating that. Everyone's in agreement, and it sucks. It's an even year. I propose that as soon as this pandemic is over, that's when we restart 2020. If you're with me, feel free to let me know on Twitter and Instagram, both at Casting for Two. But I should talk about my guest for today, who has a new album, but it's an old album. He's part of the band Early Day Miners, musician, singer, songwriter, and Daniel Burton is on the podcast. And like I said, his band Early Day Miners has re-released their album Placer Found, which is 20 years old. And I think it's fantastic, and you should give it a listen. But you should also give this episode a listen right now, because we're going to get into it, all right? So everybody sit back, relax, and Daniel, take it away. I was searching up your Skype name, and I was just, I don't see him here. Well, let me just try his name. And, oh, I was just, oh, man. I didn't even occur to me, that's a name that people would have normally. And I was just,
Yeah, it's a pretty generic, boring name.
That's okay. The time of generic, boring names are gone. So
Yeah,
now your name's unique.
It to yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't need to change it to The Edge or something like that.
No, well, I mean, if you want to, Daniel the Edge, or would it just?
Yeah,
be
no, just stick with.
Know.
My middle name is actually Leroy, so that's kind of unusual. I should probably just go with that.
I think you should. Yes, I met this guy who legally changed his name to Dick Danger.
Oh wow!
And it wasn't
That's
even
pretty
Richard.
good.
It was Dick Danger. Yeah, and you look at him, and it's like, yeah, he's gonna have the best life ever. I don't know what he's doing. I don't even know if he's still alive, to be honest with you. But that's what happens when you lead the dangerous life.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty loaded name. That's got a lot of baggage with it. If you're gonna,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody
Impressive.
like me, I should change my last name to Danger. Be like, well, he doesn't do much, so.
It's hard to be dangerous right now. All we do is stay at home and look out the window.
Now, okay, yes. Which I told my mom earlier this morning that she asked me, how can you be okay doing that? I'm like, I've been training 8 years of just being by myself, so I don't know what everyone's problem is.
Yeah.
How are you handling this?
It does seem to fall into two camps. There's the camp that is loving this right now, and then there's the camp that's a little bit more my side, I guess, which is I just wanted to be out playing shows right now, and that's not happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can write music, and there's upsides too. So.
Yeah. With have you seen your creativity spike up with just staying indoors or anything like that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, even my other bandmate, we're in New Orleans, and it's pretty hot spot, as they call it. So everyone is really taking it very seriously, which is unusual because no one takes anything very seriously in New Orleans unless it's costuming or Mardi Gras.
Right. or
Which is
beignets.
It's a lovely thing about the town, but no, I've been really pretty impressed by the city, and to the extent that my drummer doesn't even want to come over and play. So I've just been recording on my iPhone on the voice thing, just little guitar figures and effects and things, and so I have had a creative spike. I've got 3 songs now from this, so 3 songs in 3 weeks is pretty good.
I can't even write a song in a year, so I would say a song a week. That's pretty good.
Well, that's not saying that they're good songs, so there's that. But at least it's creating, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you're thinking of writing, what comes first, the guitar or the lyrics?
Oh, for me, it's always definitely been the instrument. So sometimes it's a piano, but mostly guitar. And lyrics are something where a lot of times lyrics for me have always come from as I'm trying to create a vocal harmony to the song. It's whatever pops into my head. It'll be a phrase or that works with the phrasing of the lyric itself. And then I kind of, sometimes that connection of words can often influence the actual message of the song or the narrative of the song, if there's one. So it's always a second thing from, and especially with, plus on that album in particular, the lyrics were very much about atmosphere and creating a dropping a few hints into a world that the listener can kind of create their own narrative from. So quite the opposite of Bob Dylan or, where you're laying out the story.
Yeah. Okay. And how long did it take you or you guys, I should say, to find your particular style? Because, I was listening to some of your songs, and they have a grand scale to them, I would say. A filmic scale.
Cool. Well, thanks. I'll take that.
You can put that on the CD if you want.
All right. Perfect. I wonder kind of how we got into that. Like so many musicians, always excited by film and film soundtracks, and we were all, Rory and myself and Joe, were big into the Angelo Badalamenti Twin Peaks soundtracks and Paris, Texas, and all of that. And our previous band was Ativan, which was just 2 guitars and drums and basically weird cut-up cassette tape stuff. And I think we're all too afraid to sing at that point. And you didn't have to. You could just use distortion pedals and stuff. So it kind of, so that whole idea of cinematic soundtrack music kind of dovetails nicely when we started doing the Early Day Miners project. And wanting to sort of portray that grand sound, but also minimalism. That's, I guess, sort of where it emanated from.
Okay.
Soundtrack
and
music.
And you've been doing this for quite a while, and you're re-releasing an album of 20 years
Yeah.
that you did.
hmm
What was there? What was it fun or horrifying or crazy, whichever, to go back into the headspace of you 20 years ago and just go through what you were doing back then?
Oh man, yeah. As I think we can all attest, as you get older, it's crazy because you can't believe how much stuff you've lived through. And yeah, it was really fun because 20 years ago, you're a different person. And when I listened to I've always said that I could never be objective about the music that I made. I don't think many artists can be objective about what they've made. But 20 years later, you really can, because it's a completely different person in all regards. So what I hear is a sort of a naivete that is an honesty that isn't complicated by this whole different set of lifestyle choices that I'm in now, or that, you're just living almost a different life completely. I was in Bloomington, Indiana. I was mostly concerned about, what guitar I could get or what band I was going to go see in a basement on Friday night. Not so much about mortgages and family and what have you. So, in that, to make a long story long, I feel like with Placer Found, there's this innocence and an honesty to it that is pretty refreshing now, and especially in these times. So.
And was it? You're the second person I've chatted with, since this whole situation's going on in the world right now.
Right.
But is it weird, even though again you did the album 20 years ago, is it weird having to released an album in the middle of this?
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, it's been challenging. We had an entire tour set up of Canada and the United States, which was scrapped. The pre-production of this album has been a year and a half in the making, just remixing, remastering, getting the tapes transferred successfully, and then recovering the old material. The side D's, 2 songs that were from the same sessions that haven't been released. So yeah, getting this all together and getting really excited about it, and it's almost comical. We did 3 record store shows that were supposed to connect into South by Southwest. So we played Grammys in Nashville, and it was really fun. And the record store owners were fantastic. But within those 3 days, 14th and 15th, kind of an extended weekend, that's when, shit hit the fan with all this. People were showing up at Grammys wearing gloves and hand sanitizer, and everyone was standing 6 feet away from each other. And it was like, what science fiction film am I living right now?
Yeah.
And then coming to the realization that we'd have to be canceling this, and that no one can really buy the record because Amazon is delivering toilet paper and not, essentials, and the record stores are all closed. And fortunately, we've got streaming, so that at least people can hear it. And I've been told by a few people that it's a great soundtrack for quarantining. So I'll take that as a compliment, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're optimistic. Our agent helped us move the shows to July. I'm hoping in July things, people will be healthy, and clearly see the entire picture here. No one wants to endanger anybody's lives by going to a rock show, for that matter. Fortunately, we don't attract more than 100 people at a show, so I think we could probably social distance well at our shows. We'll see.
It's so funny because in the media you hear a lot of movies having to reschedule and give video games, all that. Even concerts, of course. But then I was sitting here, again, I had the conversation earlier in the week, And I was like, what about album releases? And I was just telling this guy, like, hey, how weird is it? And it just struck me like, of course, it's hard. I've never released an
Yeah.
album, but it would be. I feel like it'd be hard to push an album, especially in the age of digital. But then you mentioned,
Yeah.
the physical copies.
Right. And that was the kind of the takeaway with the project was that it's a double gatefold vinyl. It's this physical media that is a treat to have. It's a limited pressing. And fortunately, it's selling fine. And I have no qualms that we'll be able to move the units, as they say. But yeah, it's affected every level of media. Plus, everybody I know, our drummer, for instance, Marty, works at a bar. Bars are closed. So when we can tour, how are we going to be able to financially pull that off? That's everybody. Everyone's in the same boat. I can't imagine working for huge studios in Hollywood and what they're dealing with having to shelve entire films. So we're pretty small on the scale of the damage. We can recoup pretty quickly and jump in the van and go. But yeah, it's I've got a lot of compassion for everyone's situation right now.
No, definitely. And you were talking about earlier about the build up to South by Southwest. I remember when everything went down, I was like, you know what? South by Southwest, it's going to be going on, and nobody's going to want to talk to me because everyone's going to be at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to have the week off because I'm going to be doing nothing. And then,
wasn't that kind of the turning point? Like that's when the domino fell. I felt like I was like, oh my God, they canceled South by Southwest. That city's going to regret that. And no, dude, that was just the beginning.
And it's funny because I live in San Antonio, which is like an hour outside of Austin.
Oh, I love San Antonio.
And,
yeah.
It's okay.
Well, I found it beautiful and charming, but yeah, like anywhere you live.
You know what? To visit, sure. I opened the door. I opened the door today, and I felt that humidity. And being from New Orleans, I'm sure
it's here too.
Humidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But as soon as I felt that, I was like, oh God, and I just closed the door. I'm like, I'm good.
That's great. Yeah.
But yeah, when that happened, it was just crazy.
There are those that love humidity, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love it in the evenings when the air's soft and the light's really cool. But 3 p.m, I believe in a siesta. I can't take them, but I get why they did them.
Yeah. No, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so
oh wow,
I'm used to nice weather, and when it rains, it's actually cool.
Yeah,
cool. No, it brings cool weather with it. But
yeah. Well, I don't know if you picked up on the photos are all East Texas. I know you're not really quite, or not East, West Texas. I know you're not. We are more Central South, but on the Plastic Found LP, they were done with a Holga camera.
Oh, what parts of Texas?
I think he was out kind of south of Marfa.
Oh, I know Marfa. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have never been to Marfa. I would love to.
It's okay
to see it. Yeah, I've heard it.
My whole Texas thing is like Austin's cool. What about the rest of it?
I do love Austin. I've been back in the 90s. We'd go play there all the time, and such a great time. And I know it's changed. Every place has changed, but I still get that kick-ass Austin feel when I'm there. Tacos.
It's no. There's Austin to me, it reminds me so much of Portland, which is why I like it.
It really does. Yeah, same.
But if I go to Austin, I'm like, I'm staying downtown because I want to be where the action is, because I always have a fun time. And it's not like I'm drinking or anything like that. It's just because there's so much to do. Yeah,
it's so colorful and creative. And it's got a good feel, definitely.
If there's one thing I love on the podcast, it's a good horror story.
Oh boy.
and I assume years and years and years of making music,
Uh-huh.
you have a gig horror story.
Oh hell yeah.
That
I've got one that
doesn't
immediately
involve. All
comes
right,
to
here we go.
mind. I'll just go with that
Here we
one.
go.
There's, plenty, but this one in particular was pretty terrifying. We were in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we had time to kill before our show. And our drummer was he's an incredible drummer, terrible driver. And this tour, we did it with a Nissan SUV and had a U-Haul trailer behind us. And he pulled into a parking spot. He was going to pull through and clipped this brand new monstrous SUV in a mall parking lot and tore the bumper off with the U-Haul in the back. So, we're pretty naive, honest, sweet guys, I think, and we decided we would just wait for this guy or woman to come out and explain that we have insurance, everything's fine. We want to make sure you're okay. We left a note on the windshield. Nobody came. So we waited there for like an hour and a half, and this guy comes out, and he looks like Ron Swanson, he's got a briefcase and a mustache, and he's kind of like an angry rectangle, and he just tears into us, and he goes, "You didn't. Oh my God. No, you didn't." He threw his briefcase at Rory, and he came at me, and he started choking me up against the U-Haul.
Oh.
And yeah, I was like completely terrified. And there happened to be a mall cop on a bike coming around the corner, and he sees this guy choking us. And I'm like, we have insurance. And he goes for Rory. And he just completely loses it over his bumper getting ripped off. But I can understand being angry. Whatever. So the mall cop comes up, and, we're so happy that this cop is here. We're going to get this worked out, get it settled, get to our show. And the cop pulls out his gun and starts chatting with Ron Swanson. And this is like an evil Ron Swanson. Everyone loves Ron Swanson. But
right.
This is the dark side. And they hit it off. And, we start getting lectured by the cop. I'm not quite sure why. Had the insurance papers there. Just wanted to get this done with. He gives the gun to the Ron Swanson guy. It was just joking
my
us.
God.
And they start talking about revolvers and shit. And we really realized at that point that we were in the Carolinas. This wasn't this wasn't the Triangle. This wasn't Chapel Hill. This was like we looked like freaks, of course. I'm sure they just visually stereotyped us immediately, but it all ended up working out. We got out of there, but we were so nervous when we got out of there that we left the back of the U-Haul open, and nothing fell out of it. But on the road, this guy was like, pulls up beside us, and he's like, "Man, you're going to lose all your shit out of the back of the U-Haul. The door's open." And we were just completely shook to the ground from it. Yeah. So, getting choked. That was fun.
The button to that would have been, and Ron Swanson also owned the venue we played at.
Oh man, that's a good twist.
Wow.
You should write this. And of course, God, that tour was terrible. I remember we played in a double wide trailer called Dottie's in Atlanta, which was kind of a legendary place. And my dad came and saw us playing in this double wide trailer and was completely like, "Son, you need a job."
Look, Dad, we made it. And then,
right.
Did you?
Yeah, probably not the worst story you've heard, but, it is a story nonetheless.
You're the first story to have, somebody getting choked out, so.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
For a second there, we didn't know which way it was going to go. I didn't know how we were going to get out of that. But
before we go, the one question I like to ask people that do what they do, in your case, music, what does music mean to you?
What does the medium of music mean to me?
Yes,
yeah.
All of music.
All of music, yeah. Gosh. Therapy and escapism, really. Especially in these times, it really does help and being able to perform it. I'm a huge music fan. I mean, that's how anyone gets started in it. And then being able to be on the other side of that coin and having the headspace to just completely, I'm sure it's what people find in anything they love. You have to have something like that. But sitting down and playing guitar for 30 minutes can really reset where I am mentally. So, and I'm always impressed by the fact that I'm always impressed by something in music. So I never got jaded. And a lot of the people I've played music with over the years have dropped out, and everyone has their reasons. But I've noticed that a lot of people just kind of aren't excited about the new thing or about something that was 50 years old. And if you ever get that way, you just got to keep searching. And fortunately, I have a lot of great friends. I follow people like, the guys who run Secretly Canadian, and the shit they're signing, I'm just like, wow, where do you find this stuff? It's genius. And, I'm inspired by friends like that, like Chris Swanson, who are never bored and never jaded about it. So it's a privilege and an honor to be part of it.
Nice. And for the people at home who would like to keep up with everything that you guys are doing, listen to the album, all that good stuff, where can they do all that?
Oh, yeah. Bandcamp and the Secretly Canadian site has the link to, we just restocked it. Apparently it sold out for a moment. So you can order the record again. The Secretly Store, Early Day Miners, if you Googled that. I'm always connecting stuff on my Instagram, which is Early Day Miners Band. I'm not much of a Twitter user. I guess we should become more Twitter people, but all I can think about is the president when I hear Twitter, so I've always phased it out.
I blocked it and muted any kind of words that have his last name. But yeah, for sure, Instagram is where I hang out.
Yeah, it's visually appealing to me. And
yes.
Also, just our earlydayminers.net is our website. And that's where we put up all the information about, we're resetting the tour for July. I don't know. Do you think July is going to work? Are you optimistic, or do you think?
I'm optimistic because I have to be. No, it's full disclosure.
Yeah.
July is the podcast birthday.
Oh, cool.
July, and it would mark 7 years of doing this podcast.
Fantastic.
And in July, I go to a convention, one of my favorite conventions in Austin. I get to talk to internet personalities. It's one of my biggest months, and I'm just hoping it happens.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So,
I think that's a good distance away. I think we're going to get something figured out. So we're flattening the curve in New Orleans, so that's a good sign.
There you go. There you go. But Dan, thank you so much for chatting with me. Anytime you want to come back, let me know.
My pleasure.
I'll look out for those tour dates, and hopefully I'll catch you in Austin.
Yeah,
I'll be one of those 100 people.
Well, I listened to it. This is kind of curious little thing. I just saw Stereolab in, I think it was October, in Austin, and I was hanging out with a friend, and he said, "Yeah, I just saw him in San Antonio last night," and they said to the audience in San Antonio, "Hey, this city's really great. Don't let it become Austin." Sassy. Isn't that sassy?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty yeah. I mean, people always ask me what it's like in San Antonio. Honestly, I have no thumb on the pulse. I have no idea because I'm just in my own world because I'm not a huge fan. But Austin, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, Austin's, I could see how, Austin would be cool, also not cool because of how populated it's getting.
Yeah,
businesses coming in, which is I mean, look, San Francisco is the same way. So it's just like, meh,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
eh.
Yeah.
what
It's
happens.
a band from France. You can take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
thank you for the
Oh,
support.
yeah.
And yeah, we'll definitely try to get to San Antonio. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll let you go and have a good rest of your day. All right, man.
All right. Be well. Okay.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.